What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to go over how to improve your recovery. I know that sounds like super sexy, right? um, but it is, and it's really, really important to getting the most out of your workouts here. If you're looking to get stronger, if you're looking to improve body composition, performance, all of that stuff is dictated by how much and how well you can recover from your workouts or your training. So this is really important stuff. There's a good quote that I've heard a million times that is, there's no such thing as overtraining, just under recovery. And I think this is very true because if you were properly recovered, then training wouldn't be a problem. I think it's as simple as that. If you want to work out all the time and never take the time to recover from that workout, then yeah, I guess you would be overtraining. But simply put, you're not recovering enough. So I'm going to show you how to do some things to improve that recovery. But if you hear yourself saying things like, oh, my joints hurt, or everything feels so heavy today, I'm so sluggish right now, listening to your body is really important. It's telling you you need to take a break, you need rest, or today's a good day to push it. So it's important to be in tune with that. I'm lucky enough to have like a Whoop, so if you guys have any kind of performance tracker or anything like that, it's giving you a lot of feedback too on what's going on. You can start to recognize those patterns as far as when do you perform well, when do you not perform well. So overstress in your body is going to do more damage than good. There's a certain time to push that stress and try to adapt to it, but again, the recovery has to be there in order to do that. So there are ways to adapt to the stress, and this is the recovery process. So I have the big 6 factors that I've outlined. So sleep, food, rest, which is different from sleep, hydration, self-care, and cutting out the garbage, specifically alcohol. Sorry to break it to you. So let's get into these. So that list looks a lot like the things that we track for just nutrition and body composition. That's because it's all the same stuff, right? It's all crucial to the same things. Like if you want to improve your body composition, how you look, the amount of muscle you have, how lean you are, if you want to lose fat, all that stuff, like these factors go both directions. It not only helps you recover and feel better, but it makes you look better too. So you don't have to add in a whole bunch of new things. Like it's all coming from the same habits. So sleep. A lot of your recovery comes from your time sleeping. So while you're sleeping and you get in those deep cycles of sleep, there's an increase in anabolic hormone production, and there's a decrease in catabolic hormone production. So if you're not sleeping enough, you're simply not getting that hormone production. So this is why we see it a lot in women, especially, is that their cortisol levels are so high because they're constantly stressed and they're not getting enough sleep. So you never give your body time to recover and put those hormones in check. So you're just constantly fighting upstream. Poor sleep makes you more sensitive to stress. Sleeping enough allows you to restore glycogen and save carbs for performance. So that's something where with intense exercise or like, explosiveness, things like that, you use up that glycogen, you need to restore it. During sleep is where a lot of this happens. Whereas if you're not sleeping enough, you're actually just burning up the carbs that you have been eating so you can stay awake. It's crucial for muscle repair. So during your sleep time, that's where all those little micro damages are being repaired. And then as a bonus, I don't know if you know this, but sleep improves your memory. So this also relates to memory of things like movement patterns. So when it comes to exercise or like learning a skill, weightlifting, whatever it is, you're reiterating those movement patterns in your sleep. So that's pretty cool. And then how much sleep is enough? Enough is enough. Whatever your body needs is how much you need. So the best thing you can do is give yourself the most sleep potential possible and go to bed at a reasonable time. Give yourself time built in to where you're going to have to fall asleep during that time, so that's time that you're not sleeping. Give yourself the most amount of sleep potential, especially if you know on the other side of that you have an alarm to wake up, then your bedtime needs to be plenty ahead of that so that you have enough time to get it. So the more you work out in a day, the more sleep you need. Whereas if it was more of a rest day, you may not need as much sleep. So it's going to vary each day. Food. So you have to provide your body with enough calories to replace what was used up, what's needed to rebuild tissue, what's needed to restore glycogen. Of course, if you're at a deficit, that's fine. If you're trying to lose body fat, that's necessary. If you're trying to gain muscle, you need a surplus. So like the calorie balance matters. Also, expanding on that, having the right amount of macros, but it's not as important as the right amount of calories. But like a higher protein diet, stuff like that, is going to help with fat loss, muscle building, that kind of thing. Protein is the building block of all your tissues, so that means you steadily have to supply enough protein throughout the day to fix those micro damages that we cause by exercise. And carbs have their role too, as far as protein uptake and things like that, getting it into your bloodstream and restoring that glycogen level. So having a variety of foods, though, especially produce, like you can't just eat meat all day for most of us. Produce, fruits and vegetables, like it's so crucial to providing vitamins and minerals to your body. So don't overlook that. You need a lot of color in your diet. You need leafy greens, all that stuff, because you need those vitamins and minerals. And there's a lot of other things that go into it, fiber, things like that. And then you use supplements where you're lacking. So food should be your foundation. Use supplements to add to that. So like essential fatty acids or things like that, that's great. But you should be getting a lot of this stuff from your diet. Supplements are just like the extra little bit. Rest. So different from sleep, I mean take rest days where you relax a little more. You should have those built in regularly to your week so that between like really heavy workouts or like for me, like around Thursday is when I need a break. I think a lot of us are probably like that because your week is going, it's really hectic the first few days, you're working out really hard and then you kind of hit a crash. So building in those certain days, there's a reason that we set up our program the way we do, where we have 2 strength days and a conditioning day and repeat that because it gives you kind of a back off of the weights and the nervous system response and all that stuff. Engage in active recovery. So for me, I just mean like, some light swimming, a walk, some stretching, yoga, stuff like that, where you're keeping your blood flowing, but you're still giving yourself a break. And then like every 3 to 5 weeks, having a back off week or a deload week where all your weights are lighter, your overall volume of workout is lower. We build these into our workouts every cycle. So you'll usually see on the 4th week, everything's lighter than normal. And then do some activities that give you mental and physical rest. So like whether that's coloring, doing puzzles, going fishing, whatever that is that kind of helps you rebound, do that. Hydration. It's so important that you drink enough water. Like your tissues and your organs are made up of water mostly, so it's kind of a big deal to provide your body with more water because you're going to burn through that water, especially in Florida. You're sweating a lot of it out. You're sweating a lot of your minerals out. Like you need to restore those things. So hydration, I would even add an asterisk and say electrolytes, minerals, things like that. But it also improves mental clarity. It helps your sleep. It helps your energy level. It also helps cycle waste out of your system. So when we exercise, there is an amount of waste that's produced, and we need to continuously flush that out. So hydration is important. And then self-care. So engaging in consistent self-care practices not only helps reduce soreness, but improves like your ability to relax. It speeds up the repair process. So things like foam rolling, self-myofascial release. So like if you're rolling around on a lacrosse ball or whatever, these aren't things that are going to fix injury. And I think that's an important distinction because sometimes these things get some hate. If you're using it to fix a tear in your shoulder, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. But if you're using it to help recover and help blood flow, those things can lend themselves to improved recovery and maybe coming back from an injury. But doing these things, there's a lot of benefit to doing it regularly. So whether you like to do kind of some stretching, I would say both passive and active, like the pails and rails and stuff that we do in class. Doing a sauna is really great. Having a massage on some kind of regular basis. taking mineral baths, like using Epsom salt, magnesium baths, stuff like that. All of those things are really good, and they do make a noticeable difference in your recovery if you do them regularly, or at least when you feel like you need it. If you're really sore, take an Epsom salt bath. Like, not only are you taking a bath and it's relaxing, but you're replenishing some minerals, you're doing some things that help with soreness reduction. So find your thing that you like. Even going on walks, like I said, that helps. It's blood flow. It does a lot for your brain, but these are good things for recovery. And then lastly, just cutting out the crap. Like things like alcohol, sugar, whatever foods for you cause inflammation. For some people that's wheat or dairy or whatever it is. You need to know what those things are, and you need to avoid those things because they are hurting your ability to bounce back from physical activity. If you party all the time and then you come in and work out and you're like, I don't know why my elbows and knees and everything hurt. Well, it's not because of the exercise, it's because your body's not ready to take on that stress, right? So you need to be aware of that. Enjoy yourself, but you just have to know you're not free from the consequences of those things. Like, I like to have a beer once in a while, but I'm not going to do it, like right before a really intense training session. And if you're regularly putting your body through that, you're distracting it from doing the things that it needs to do, which is get your body back to normal, which your body's constantly trying to do that. So that is it. Hopefully that helped. Recovery is really important. I hope you guys take the time to watch this videos and really think over your week and your day and figure out ways that you can put these things in. It's really not very hard. It should be what you're doing anyways, but if it wasn't as important to you before, it should be more important now considering all of this. So I hope that helps elevate your recovery